Another peace accord signing today. Buhari meeting with INEC and security chiefs. Campaigns end officially tomorrow. And the EFCC is warning vote buyers. Brace up for tonight's show, everyone, because the 2023 verdict begins right now. And your top stories. The political parties and their candidates have gathered in Abuja today to sign yet another peace accord to ensure that there is no breach of peace. And the EFCC, the anti-graft agency in the country, has deployed its operatives for the election to curb vote buying. We will be speaking of exclusively with the chairman of the EFCC, Abdurrashid Bawa. And President Buhari today met with INEC chairman, with the security chiefs as well as senior cabinet members. I'm so glad to be in your company tonight, wherever you may be watching. This is the 2023 verdict, live on Channels Television. I'm sure Kimbalo in Abuja. Our countdown is our focus because the election of Saturdays stares everyone in the face. 2 days, 12 hours, 56 minutes and 44 seconds, and it keeps going down. This is the normal thing that we see on the program when these part of the clock keeps rolling down and down. Well, isn't that live? The second clock keeps going faster than anyone thinks. 2 days, 12 hours, 56 minutes to the Saturday election, and we're keeping tabs on all of the information that you need as a voter to go into the election of Saturday. Don't forget, keep your PVC very close to you, because no PVC, no voting. By now, you should have been able to identify your voting point, because that will help you on Saturday. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and keep counting down with me until we get to the very day that the decision for the next leaders, to determine the next leaders for this country, will be determined. Well, so much to talk about tonight. The EFCC is all out. And when the EFCC is roaring, you know what that means. You've seen what they did in Osun and Ekiti. They say they're going about after vote buyers. The EFCC chairman will be speaking to us tonight exclusively. But we'll also be looking at the northern votes. The APC, the PDP, the Labour Party, the NNPP, all of them are looking to the 19 states and the opportunity to grab all the votes that they can in that region. We're looking at the dynamics of the northern voting bloc and the patterns that we've seen over the last few years. Interesting conversation tonight. Before we get into all of the conversations, let's check across the country for some of your top election stories now.
The Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress has again faulted the opinion poll that projected Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party as likely winner of the February 25, 2023 presidential election. Addressing a news conference at the council's headquarters in Abuja, the Special Advisor on Media and Strategic Communications, Mr. Dele Alake, says the intention of the pollsters is to prepare ground for unrest by giving false hope of victory to Mr. Obi's supporters. The People's Democratic Party is accusing the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, of killing democracy in the state and country by hounding people who disagree with his views. One of the spokespersons of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, Mr. Charles Aniago, stated this at a news conference in Asaba Delta State, where he urged Rivers people and Nigerians to vote Atiku Okowa ticket to rescue the nation from its current travels.
We will, by the grace of God, embark on a process of recovery embark on a process of developing all parts of this country.
The national chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure, is calling on all supporters and stakeholders to cast their votes for its presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, this Saturday. Addressing journalists at a press briefing, Mr. Abure made the call at the party headquarters in Abuja. He also called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to make sure elections go free and fair without bias. And the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos State, Mr. Abdulaziz Adediran, has asked residents in the state to rally around the presidential candidate of his party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, ahead of the Saturday election. Mr. Adediran says his reason for calling support for Alhaji Abubakar is because of the plans he has for Nigeria, which he is confident will address the poverty status of the country as well as arresting youth restiveness nationwide. The Social Democratic Party has frowned on the postponement of its party's campaign in Ibadan by the police, claiming that the action of the police is injurious to the party. Addressing the press conference at the party secretariat in Bodija, Ibadan, the party leaders, led by the former House leader Molikat Adiola, says the last-minute cancellation of the rally by the Oyo State Police Command is unfair and uncalled for. Ahead of the March 11 governorship election, the candidate of a cold party in Rivers State, Mr. Dumo Lolo Briggs, has unveiled his manifesto for the people of the state who voted as governor. The manifesto, tagged Prosperity for All, was unveiled at an event in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, which was well attended by party members, including the national chairman of a cold party, Mohammed Nalado. The Northeast Zonal Director of Grassroots Engagement for the Labour Party, Mr. Jinadu Garvey, says the achievement of Mr. Peter Obi and his running mate will give him an edge over his fellow contestants in the forthcoming presidential election, especially in the northeast region of Nigeria. According to him, the region is facing the worst security challenges in the country's history and needs a visionary leader in the person of Mr. Peter Obi to salvage their situation. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says the 2023 general elections will take place in all the polling units in Zamfara State, except one polling unit which falls within the 240 polling units the Commission says election will not hold. The resident electoral commissioner, Professor Babura Ahmed, said this at a stakeholders meeting in Gusau and notes that there will be adequate deployment of security to protect voters while they file out to exercise their franchise. In preparation for Saturday's elections, sensitive materials are now being sorted for distribution at the CBN premises in Ado-Ekiti, the Ekiti state capital. The arrangement of the materials for the election is taking place under the watch of the state resident electoral commissioner, party representatives, monitors and observers. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Yobe State says it has provided alternatives for all polling units that are not accessible in the state to allow all voters exercise their franchise during the 2023 general elections. The state resident electoral commissioner, Mr. Ibrahim Abdullahi, who disclosed this at a stakeholders meeting with political parties, civil society organizations and security agencies, explains that not all polling units are accessible, but there has been remarkable security improvement compared to the 2019 general elections. The Court of Appeal, Abuja, has dismissed a fresh appeal challenging the nomination of Chukwuma Ifeanyi as the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ebonyi State. The appellate court threw away the suit filed by Okorafo Okore on the grounds that it constituted a gross abuse of court process against Ifeanyi. A chieftain of the APC and governorship hopeful of the party in Kogi State, Mr. Sanusi Ohaire, is canvassing votes for the APC presidential candidate of the party, Bola Tinubu. Mr. Ohaire says Tinubu will win the Saturday race.
Thank you everyone for staying with us right here on the program. This program, don't forget, is very interactive, and we want you to get your views on the topics we have for discussion today. So tweet to us on these handles you see on your screen using the hashtag 2023verdict, or send an email if you are that type like me who likes to send emails. 2023verdict@channelstv.com. The race is not getting any slower, everyone. It's intense, and so much is happening by the second that could swing the trajectory of the race. And in fact, those stories are the ones that we'll be touching on. And this is the state of the race, everyone. President Muhammadu Buhari today was present at a peace accord signing by political parties and their candidates in Abuja. This is at the invitation of the National Peace Committee. The major candidates were present for the first time that the front runners will all be present at the peace accord signing. This is perhaps the third time that the National Peace Committee will be organizing this ahead of the 2023 election. Former heads of state and members of the National Peace Committee, as you can see them on your screen, approaching the room of the event, and some leaders of the foreign and local observer groups were also present. The president also met earlier before that event with the INEC chairman and some senior security chiefs, as well as some senior members of the federal cabinet. The meeting, we understand, is geared towards ensuring peace in the Saturday polls. Take a listen to some of what was said after that meeting.
As the system is wholeheartedly ready for the conduct of the election and arising therefrom, the position of the government, the position of the president is to the effect that the election is held on the 25th day of February 2023, and Mr. President and the Council, the National Security Council, are happy with the preparations on the ground, and wholehearted arrangements are put in place in that direction.
We were able to inform Mr. President that security-wise, we've been able to crime map this country in terms of threat analysis, in terms of what we expect, what we need to do during, before, and after the elections. And the military have also pledged their commitment to support the process by providing the needed support at their own level, which requires different kind of assistance.
That's the Inspector General of Police and the Attorney General of the Federation. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has been speaking about his expectations ahead of Saturday polls. Allow you to listen to what he said earlier today.
What I took is very clear. One is that subsidy must go, because presently it's organized crime and it's not sustainable. We need the resources to invest in clear development areas. That's one. Two, on the issue of the finance, we're going to ensure that we support those who are investing in finance, especially modern finance, in such a way that they help us to stop.
The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, looks so much that he's lost his voice. The Supreme Court today adjourned a case instituted by the state government against the federal government challenging the implementation of the narrow redesign. The Apex Court adjourned the case to March 3rd for judgment. It doesn't look like that matter is ending, and we'll hear the final ruling on that matter from the Supreme Court. Our first part of the conversation tonight, because look, tonight's conversation is going to be some very, well, I wouldn't say intense, but very frank, because, I mean, campaigns are gradually winding down because tomorrow is the final day. But the big question here, there are a lot of issues that are on the table. The northern vote, a lot of politicians are here talking about how they are jostling for those votes. They're saying this does not have it, this does not have it. Who really has the northern vote? Again, I imagine in my mind that the PVC collection figures is not yet released by INEC, and we're just 2 days to the election. Unbelievable. I don't know when INEC is planning to release that. And one of the interesting things from the conversation that we hear from the Villa today about the security of things in the country gives one assurance that election will go on, because don't forget, around this time, elections are usually postponed. It has happened twice in this country. In fact, on election day, elections have been postponed. But the assurances that we are getting is that Saturday is sacrosanct, and I hope that we keep it at that. But one thing that is also very alarming is the fact that the EFCC, the anti-graft agency, is saying that everyone planning to buy votes or sell votes are going to be in trouble because the EFCC has sent its operatives across the country. What are the plans? They've in fact released hotlines. So if you see anybody buying votes, you have to call the EFCC. They have an app also on which we can report any vote buyer or any vote seller. I guess vote buyers are in trouble. Let's hear from the horse's mouth if there's anything like that. The EFCC chairman, Mr. Abdulrashid Bawa, he joins us virtually live on the program tonight. Thank you so much, Mr. Bawa, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sheun. Thank you for having me.
Great, great. This will send some jitters to vote buyers and vote sellers. What is your strategy ahead of Saturday?
Well, the strategy is simple, Sheun. I think there is enough knowledge now to all Nigerians that they are not expected to sell their votes. And of course, the politicians vying for the seats are aware that they are not expected to buy the vote. So our strategy is simple. We want all Nigerians to join hands with us. As you are aware, we are working with all other security agencies in this regard. And then, of course, just as you have said, thank you for that, we have already, issued details of all our men, and of course, we have avenues in which people can, reach out to us across the federation. So we are going all out, just the way that we have done in the last elections, as well as what we have done in Oshun and Ekiti. So the strategy is simple. It is not an EFCC thing. It is a Nigerian thing. It is the citizens of this country that is involved now. And of course, we hope and pray that everybody will join hands with us to ensure that dirty money does not find its way into our electoral processes, as well as, those that are willing to buy votes do not have their way, because we know and we believe that once you allow vote buying as well as vote selling, it will lead to further commissioning of economic and financial crimes. Once that person gets to the seat, you'll be thinking about recouping his money. You'll be thinking about the next election, etc., etc. So I think that is our strategy for now. I will not come out to tell you what we are going to do in details, or what we have told our men, but the strategy is for all Nigerians to join hands with us, as well as other security agencies, to ensure that we have a vote buying free, elections in 2023.
When anybody remembers that popular slogan or the byline of the EFCC, wherever you go, EFCC will come after you. I don't know how much of your funds and how much of your claws you are ready to display to pounce on the vote buyers. You said you're deploying your operatives. Like the police, we always know their numbers. How many of your operatives are you sending to the field?
All our operatives. We are not many, but we are selling. We are sending, virtually, everybody out there. We are not unaware of the fact that we cannot, cover the entire country. But of course, that is why I said at the beginning that we are working hand in gloves with other, security agencies, as well as, we have provided avenues in which Nigerians can reach out to us. So we are sending virtually everybody that we have. As you know, Sheun, we are a specialized agency. We are not as big as, other security agencies, in the country. But we are sending, virtually everybody on this assignment.
So, Mr. Bawa, if there is anything now, politicians who are preparing to buy votes, they should be worried that your guys are out there. And if there is anything to learn or take from the pilot that you had in Ekiti and Oshun, would you say that you're more prepared, considering whatever lesson that you have taken out of those two elections?
Yeah, we are very happy with our history and the knowledge that we have, gathered in the last two elections, as well as the last general elections. But I think, Sheun, even this year's election is even different. As you know, we have new currencies in circulation now. It is easier to track these currencies by their numbers. Central Bank knows the serial numbers of these currencies as they distributed them across the country. So we even have another, added added responsibility this time around, because all the funds that will eventually recover, out there in the field that are being used for the buying of votes, we can actually trace and see, whether these currency are genuinely currencies that are gotten from ATMs and across the counter, or whether somebody somewhere, used them in bulk and gave the politicians the money. Because we know that one of the problems that we are having is that the bankers are actually sabotaging the equitable distribution of these new naira notes. So we are working in all of that, and we are sure that at the end of the day we are going to be successful more than any other time, but this time around, because of this issue of new naira notes that we have on board across the country being in circulation.
Tell us about the intelligence that you have. What are those intelligence reports telling you?
Well, the intelligence reports, I'm not going to be here to share all of that. It is for our own internal consumptions, and they are intelligent. They are expected to be used by us to add value to them, to enable us make meaning out of it. But what we have is that we have a lot of people that have stock of these new naira notes. They are willing to use them because INEC has more or less nearly perfected its scheme of doing things. The Beavers is going to do a lot of wonders. So the option that most politicians are having now is to ensure that they buy votes from those Nigerians that are out there, that come out to vote. So they need to maximize the numbers that they have out there. So that is what our intelligence is telling us, and I'm happy that all security agencies are working together towards achieving this common goal and objective of vote-free elections.
So there are talks about governors, some top politicians who are stashing funds. Tell us about that.
Well, Shehun is what it is. Even as of today, I think based on the numbers that we still have over 500 billion of the old naira notes that are yet to be returned back to the central bank. And for the new naira notes, of course, the central bank have through the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting, have printed over 500 billion as well, which of course is out there in circulation. So as I said, we are working. We have our own way of getting, this intel, and God willing, we are going to use them, maximally in this exercise.
I mean, if you can tell us categorically that we still have, you have information, because what we know, the information we have is that some of the governors are stashing up funds. Are they still stashing up these funds even when the government says, take these funds to the CBN?
I don't want to say governors, but public servants out there, not necessarily governors. They are our leaders. They are doing their best. But I think public servants out there, or some businessmen with questionable characters, are still having these funds out there. But as the law says, at any time they can always bring it back to central bank, for crediting of their own accounts. And just as throughout this exercise from October 26 to date, we have not arrested anybody. We have not raised any question regarding who deposited what, where, and how, because we are determined not to cause too much panic within the system. Because one of the cardinal objectives of the policy is to ensure that monies are returned back to the banking system, and that is why we are holding on. We are not eager to start that. Facts cannot change for things that are already within the financial institution. So I don't want to say governors or this, but I will say that public servants, as well as either retired or serving, as well as some businessmen with questionable characters.
So there might be some answers that some people who have returned this money will answer later on, is it?
Oh, certainly. We'll wait and see. But I can tell you that based on our own paper analysis of things, there are a lot of questions that we will ask and that we demand answers for.
For some of us who didn't have enough cash to take, I mean, who didn't have any money to take to the bank for exchange, we might be, we might have some good time, isn't it? But that's on the light side of.
Do you have any shown?
No, that's what I'm saying. I couldn't even take any money to the bank. Not to talk of
You
getting.
have already taken your own. You are being paid salary, electronically. So which money do you have?
Yes, I mean, really, you know what goes on. You can read every account. But Mr. Bauer, how do you identify who wants to buy votes? And politicians who have given their agents money to buy Pepsi and Coke. Because we understand that this is also one of the things that politicians are keeping money on election day. And legitimately, some of them, by law, have been given the chance and the room of how much they can spend. For those who say, oh, this money is for Pepsi and Coke, according to them, or for mobilization, how do you differentiate who wants to buy vote or not?
When we are Nigerians, Shewun, we are not, aliens. We are not unaware of the fact that even the Electoral Act provided for certain amount of money to be spent by candidates. Shewun, if I may ask, have you ever voted before? Have you ever been to a polling unit to cast your vote?
Yes,
Because
I have.
if you have,
I have.
Very clear.
Yeah.
It is very clear who is out there to buy Coke, who is out there to buy Akara, who is out there to buy Momo Shewun. And then it is very clear, who's out there to buy votes. I've voted. I have been voting since 2003. So and I know that some of these things, while you are there, you will see it. Is like a midnight moon. You will see it. It's very clear.
Because Mr. Bauer, because I've covered elections for a long time now, and I can tell you that politicians, because I cover them and I speak with them every time, they are usually one step ahead of the system. When the system hopes to catch those fraudulent politicians, they know how to meander and have their way around. Are you thinking of the possibility of using other means other than cash to buy votes?
Of course, we have intel that a lot of people have bought some items that they want to buy votes in kind, not in cash. So all of these things are out there, Shehu. Now we'll watch out for. Politicians are also Nigerians. They are professionals, some of them that, turn to politicians. We too, we have our own way of doing our own things, Shehu. You reminded me earlier on tonight that the EFCC have a slogan that the EFCC will get you anywhere, anytime. It didn't come by chance. It come by a lot of hard work and dedication of my staff and myself here at the EFCC, and of course, all our predecessors here in the commission. So we have our own way of getting these things. As I said, we have our own experiences in this as well.
On a final note, if there's something that you are hoping that could be a hurdle, perhaps difficult in this task of coming after vote buyers, what could that be?
I think the hurdle is that if Nigerians are not buying into what we are doing, and I think that is the biggest hurdle. But I believe that once we are united in that front, which I believe we should be, because Shewun, as you know, the office of the citizen, in the Nigerian context, the office of the citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the most powerful office in this country. And we can all come together to ensure that, look, the people that we are voting into various elective positions, are people of proven integrity, and of higher ethical standard. And the only way you can determine that are those that have, genuinely sell themselves in what they have done or what they will do when they get to the office. Not people that are out there, to demand that you should sell off, your own right to them. Because once you do that, you don't have any right again as a citizen to come and challenge them, once they get into office. So it's a very serious thing that Nigerians should get to know and understand, that this issue of vote buying is about our future, is about the future of our country, and it's about the future of the system itself. Because once we have a very good system, that is devoid of all these element of criminalities, no matter how little it is, then of course, the sky is the limit. As you know, we are the biggest economy in Africa. We have the potentials. We have, the knowledge and education to ensure that this country achieve its own, potential. Shewun, there is nothing bad in this country that cannot be corrected with what is good in this country. And I think the biggest challenge is that if the citizens are not, buying into what, we are doing. And I believe that they are, because based on experiences and based on what you have been doing, in the press, as well as other well-meaning Nigerians, they will all come out and join us in this fight against vote buying.
So I want to paint a scenario for you, and this is not just an assumptive scenario. It is an actual scenario which played out. I'm very certain that a lot of Nigerians are not familiar. Some of them have not even seen the new Naira notes. Just imagine someone throws up a bundle of 500 Naira notes in the midst of 50 people. There will be some people who will be admitted into the emergency section of the hospital tonight, because a lot of people will have to jostle. There are scenarios that are played out where your men bust a particular place and the community came after your men because they wanted this money. What happened in that kind of scenario, Mr. Bauer? Are you prepared for that?
Well, we are prepared for everything, but as you know, every scenario on ground is different. But I doubt much, except for somebody that just want to cause chaos in the scene. Nobody will just come out and remove a bunch of 500 naira notes.
No. I was just using that to describe how scarce the money, the Naira notes is right now. It's very scarce. So a lot of people, when you flash it in their faces, they will come after it. Even those who naturally will not want to buy their votes, because the money is scarce, and they go to the bank, they say they cannot get their money, they will be willing to collect. So is the willingness.
The votes too are very scarce, shown this time around. So no politician will waste his money in that regard. He wants to spend his money where he's sure that people are going to vote for him. The issue of scarceness of the funds, I think everybody is aware of it, and everybody is working towards that. And what the government have done in the last few days have demonstrated that they have understood that, and they are coming up with various solutions to this problem. Hence the 200 naira notes that are now extended as a legal tender until the 10th of April. And Shewun, some of these things that we have mentioned, some of these monies also that are printed will all come out this Saturday after the general elections, because some of them are actually hoarded, and then it will be used to be distributed around. Some that we see we will arrest, some that we will not see. Of course, there will be available money in circulation, God willing, and tension will ease out, God willing, after the Saturday general elections.
So your men arrested some folks in Ekiti and Osun. What has happened to these people? Those ones who have been arrested?
We commenced the prosecution of them. Prosecution was on, and I think what happened, we are being told that the last report that I had was that they were struck out because we don't have a fiat of INEC, and we have written to INEC in that regard, to give us fiat for us to continue the prosecution of them. So very soon we are coming back, with that, and we'll continue to prosecute them until justice is done.
So finally, if I see something, how do I say something?
Third finally, Shewun.
You say what?
This is the third time you are saying finally.
Yeah. I mean, you are good looking. That's why I keep. This is one time. This is one time I can detain you.
Let me be more
This one time.
Tell me something I don't know.
This is one time I have the fear to detain you. So, how do I say something if I see something, Mr. Bauer?
When you see something, you say something, and you'll be rest assured that the EFCC will do something. We have the Eagle Eye that we launched about a year or so ago, that Nigerians can download on their phones. Millions of Nigerians have downloaded it on their phones. They can take pictures. They can send us the story of what is there, and they should be rest assured that the EFCC is going to do something about that. Right. And we have a social media handles. We have telephones of all the heads of the EFCC team in various states that we have already issued out to the public. So all these are avenues in which you can say something.
right.
And then, of course, when you see something, you say something, and then you be rest assured that the EFCC will do something, God willing.
For free, we will be able to help EFCC publish the numbers on our website. And of course, perhaps before the end of this program, we will put those numbers, maybe in our subsequent programs also, put the numbers out there. Thank you so much indeed, Mr. Bauer.
Thank you very much for putting it for free.
I'll release you without bail. So you have the privilege now, Mr. Bauer. Now that
okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Abdurrashid Bauer, the chairman of the anti-graft agency, the EFCC. Thank you so much indeed for your time. Thank you so much, everyone. I told you earlier with that interview with the EFCC chairman that if you see something and you want to say something, if you see those who are planning to buy vote and you want to report it, this is some of the information that will allow you to report the incident. And there you have it on your screen. The numbers and the app that you need to use to report all of these incidents. Of course, the information and the story about it, you can go to channelstv.com and you find all of that there. Let's get to talk about what is going to happen on Saturday as political parties are jostling for votes. And one thing that is very important is the fact that the pattern of voting in the past will determine or will have its own influence on how things go. Tonight, I have some very senior members of two major political parties with me here in the studio. I have Ms. Hannatu Musawa. She is a spokesperson of the APC-PCC and a deputy director of the public affairs unit of the PCC, a lawyer also. Thank you so much, Ms. Musawa, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for having me.
And we have a former chief of staff to the governor, the governor of Bauchi State, and also a chieftain of the PDP, Mr. Laden Salihu. Thank you so much, Mr. Salihu, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
How does this raise? How is it looking out for you in the APC?
Well, again, thank you for having me on the show tonight, Sharon. It's looking like victory for us in the APC. Literally, we feel
Today's Wednesday.
Yeah?
It's not Saturday just yet.
It's not Saturday just
Where is
yet.
the confidence coming from?
Oh, the confidence is coming from the fact that we know we've put in enough work, and we believe that the kind of support that we've been able to garner from not only the town hall meetings that we had, but from the way that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his team has been able to traverse the length and breadth of this country, we do believe there's going to be support. And of course, the feelers that we're getting on the ground is that there's going to be an outright victory for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu by Sunday, come willing.
Is perhaps what you're saying now is totally a different story from when one of the chief general members of your party who left, and you know who I'm talking about, and he said, "Look, our experience with your candidate is not a good one, and that's the reason he thinks that he's not the best candidate for Nigeria."
Well, that's like I've always said, everybody has their own different experiences, and it's not for anyone to talk about anybody's individual experiences. For me, it's about my experience, and my experience with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a man that is completely lucid, a man that has completely got his tentacles about him, and it's a man, I think, that has a vision for the country and has the ability to completely revitalize Nigeria and take it to a new plane. And I truly do believe that. And what he's done in the past, what he says he's going to do presently, what he's put in his action plan, the sort of vision, the sort of innovation he wants to bring to Nigeria is something that I've never seen with anyone that I've been involved with in politics, and I've been involved with politics since 2002. I'm completely committed to ensuring the success of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu because I think he's the best man at the job. And I've said that even though that there are many, many candidates vying for this top position, all of them are fantastic national, patriots. They're all national treasures. But of course, one has to be better than the others. And for me, I've had an opportunity to interrogate each and every one of these candidates because most of them I have personal relationships with. But of all of them, I don't think any one of them has the sort of vision, the capacity, the character, the clout, the sincerity of purpose to be able to really do the things that is needed for Nigeria.
Interesting. Let me bring Mr. Saliu. You're not only a politician, you've been in government. Is it looking as bright as Ms. Musawa here is describing the chances on Saturday? She's confident, and it looks so much that everything is cast in stone for them ahead of Saturday. Does it look like that for you too?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, Sean. Let me say from the onset that the facts are clear. The optics are there. Our candidate, Atiku Abubakar, has gone around every state, has visited every state capital. We've had robust rallies. We've had rallies where the attendance, the kind of frenzy, the support, you know, is just ballistic. So let me put it this way. PDP, in the real sense, is not in contest with any, with APC in the real sense. We are in contest with a party that is bedeviled by internal rebellion, dismembered by internal conflict, fragmented by internal mismanagement of its own affairs. And in the last 1 week, we told ourselves in the campaign organization, hey, slow down. The APC is doing the campaign for us. Because here you have a party that 1 week to the elections, Nigerians are still discussing the anger, the anguish, the poverty, the insecurity that they have brought upon us. And yet, we have ourselves in a quagmire where you cannot even access your legitimate funds to do business. You cannot even go to the banks and get a naira from a policy that was generated by the party, by the government in power. And so it is, we are coasting to not only victory, no, the position of our candidate, the position of the PDP, as far as this election is concerned on Saturday, is not only unassailable, but is going to be a whitewash. It is not going to be, I will not sit here and say, oh no, we're going to have a landslide. No.
You won't have a landslide.
We are a very realistic political party. What you have is a PDP coasting to victory in an unassailable position. And this is going to happen because, like I said, APC has brought not only failure, has brought anguish and anger and a state of insecurity that we've not seen in our entire life as a nation. So the economy is not only bad or poor, the economy has been mismanaged. There are more people now out of jobs. If you talk about insecurity, in 2022 alone, across the country, 7,000 people were reported to have been killed as a result of insecurity, 4,500 from the Northwest alone, 445 from Kaduna, 985 kidnapped. And what do we have? A champion in that state in the name of a governor going after his president, his party, for a policy that was not ab initio probably even discussed in the engine room. So it tells you that what you have in APC is a contraption, a conglomerate of personal interests.
Let me ask you, who would you say is your biggest rival? Biggest rival to Atiku Abubakar in this race?
The biggest rival is, the biggest rival to PDP is the PDP itself.
So PDP is not twice on the ballot. It will appear once on the ballot.
We will defeat every candidate soundly. I don't want to equate
I see it this way. Just for a moment,
yes.
Mr. Saliu. Muhammad Buhari defeated Atiku by 15,191,000 votes, winning 19 states in 2019.
15 million?
Yes, he polled 15,191,000 votes.
And Atiku?
And Atiku polled 10,782 in 17 states, and the EFCC the last time around.
Yes.
Buhari is still in the APC. And if you are looking at it this time around, so we had something that looked like a 2-horse race in 2019. Now it looked like a 4-horse race this time around. And that's why I'm asking.
Yes.
Who do you see that your candidate is up against in this, who is a major challenger to your candidate?
Well, at the beginning of the program, you did say that this is going to be a 2-horse race. And let me dignify let me dignify that comment by saying, yes, the PDP is in a 2-horse race with the APC, all right? But then the difference is more than clear. When you look at, and I'm happy, Mr. President has said that he's going to give the nation a free, fair, credible, and transparent election, which I expect, from which I expect that there will be not only a level playing ground, no, but there will be the rule that will apply to each and everybody equally. And therefore, if that is done, the PDP has no fear whatsoever that we will win this election handsomely, we'll win this election hands down, because, and I want to repeat it again, and I'll repeat it over and over again. You have a nation that is in dire straits. You have a nation that is in a conundrum of a system that has over the years been almost imprisoned by misgovernance, by lack of clear and crystal clear foresight in leadership.
Yeah, let me pause you for a moment, and I'll come back to Ms. Hannatu Musawa. And your comment will lead us in the break. We're going to a break in a few seconds. So, do you agree with him, though, saying that the PDP article will beat Bola Tinubu in this race?
Absolutely not. But before I do that, I would want to just comment on something that he did say. I think within his comments, he did say that he spoke about the policy, the Naira policy now, and bringing that in to say, oh, the APC has brought in this policy, or the bad implementation of this policy that has been put Nigerians at a dire straits. Oh my goodness, what the irony of irony is that it is the PDP that is actually supporting this particular bad implementation of the policy. Even you have the apex court of the land, the Supreme Court, saying that we should maintain status quo so that all the money is legal tender. But it is the PDP that is trying to weaponize what the bad situation that Nigerians are going through. So it would be very disingenuous for any PDP member to sit here and use that as one of the reasons why the APC should lose election, when it is what they are banking on to win the elections.
That policy might be an Achilles heels for your party?
It may be what,
You think that it might be harmful for your party?
Of course it's been harmful for our party. There's no doubt about it. But let me tell you why it is harmful for our party. People talk about vote buying. Nobody on this side of the divide is thinking about vote buying. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is going to win this elections hand down, with or without any incentives from any quarter.
So you're not planning any handouts?
No, we have no
gifts, no packages, no souvenirs for
none whatsoever. None whatsoever. And in fact, it is in our interest that there's no vote buying in the election, because Asiwaju wants a clean victory, one that will enable him to be able to unify the country after his victory.
And the assurances that you're getting about the chances of your candidate, and I'm saying, how hurtful is the policy of the CBN? Because it's mostly the governors of your state that are fighting this policy.
Let me tell you why this policy is, we're adverse to this policy. You know, people keep on talking about the issue of vote buying, and like I said before we went for break, no one is interested in vote buying, because we want to go into a clean election and come out with a clean victory. This is what Asiwaju Bola Tinubu wants, because he wants to be able to unite the country after the election without anybody feeling disenfranchised. Right. The reason why you see APC members, specifically the governors, because they're more or less like the mouthpiece of our party, is because of the effect that it's having on us. Because it's an APC government and it's an APC policy, and the bad implementation of it, it's affecting us negatively because people may look at this policy and say, oh, it's part of the APC.
So it is true what people say, that if Bola Tinubu had a 65% chance before that policy, that has been drawn down to 40%.
No, not 40%. Maybe if he had a 65% chance, it's been brought down to 64% or something.
I mean,
certainly not that low.
But
there's no doubt
even in
it's
your home
affected
state
us.
of Katsina, the argument that the APC might lose a lot of the state to their control.
There's not a cotton-picking chance on earth that we are going to lose Katsina in APC.
Those are the permutations.
Well, that's not true, because I'm the second. When it comes to Katsina, I'm fervently passionate about the issue of Katsina because I'm involved in the campaign of Katsina down to the grassroots, and I'm the secretary of the campaign council in Katsina, so I'm very much aware.
So APC will win Katsina governorship and presidential.
You know
Is that what you're saying?
Oh yes. Oh, definitely.
Okay.
We're going to.
We will all be alive.
Katsina.
And I don't bet if I.
The governorship contest in Katsina is literally like night and day. Dr. Dukorada and Yakubu Ladut Amarke is like night and day, and the people of Katsina know that. There is no way the people of Katsina are going to abandon a person with the kind of pedigree that Dr. Dukorada has to go for Yakubu Ladut Amarke, who has lost election 3 times.
What about the anger that people were talking about? In fact, the president's visit the last time to Katsina, the anger that the people have shown, these are some of the talks in your underground in Katsina.
Well, that's not true. You know, when the president came to Katsina, I was there, and I was part of that delegation that led him through that that ride to the different destinations that he went. And we were received, the president was received with adoration by people. But then it was after we had left everywhere we were going, then we now saw that there were images that had gone viral showing that people had tried to attack his motorcade. But that wasn't true. You have individuals that make their kind of attack.
So those kind of anger, perhaps the opposition say it's against your party across the land,
but then,
based on the situation of things in the country.
But if we say that...
Do you think that those exist?
But if you say that
madam, do you think that those kind of anger against your party, does it exist in the country based on the economic situation?
There's a likelihood that some people may be upset with maybe the way, you know, the implementation of this policy or some of the failures or challenges of this particular government. There's no doubt about that. We do understand that. And in our campaign, this is why Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is providing solutions for those areas that there have been challenges. But again, I just want to go back on the point that you said that there were attacks. Now, if we're going to interpret these attacks as a rejection, then why is it when in other places where other parties, such as the Labour Party, have been attacked, why is it not interpreted in the same way that the people are rejecting the Labour Party? That's why they're
let's
attacking
put some reading into these. Whether or not the acceptance of the APC and the PDP,
two separate ways.
I mean, well,
you see what I'm saying?
No, these are the issues about your party and your position in the state. I'm just bringing to you for. I mean, so the acceptance or the non-acceptance of any of your political parties in the North is a major issue.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how you're dismissing the Labour Party or Kwankwaso of the NNPP in this race. Do you think that Labour Party or NNPP are a force to reckon with?
Well, let me say from the onset, when you look at the character and the formation of the political parties and their structures on the ground, the NNPP and the Labour parties, they don't even, they don't have representation on the ground in the North.
So, I mean,
no governors,
you're saying that they cannot win. That's what you're saying.
No governors, no senators.
So does that matter?
They won't make the numbers.
Does that matter?
It matters to some people, but to the PDP, no, we're not so much concerned.
Well, you're not going to be the one to vote for them. But if the people who are voting say they will vote for them, can you stop them?
Let me say this. How do you factor a party, for instance, like, and I feel, I wouldn't say I sympathize, but my heart, goes out to the Labour for not having the kind of numbers to compete. How do you have a party going into a presidential election out of 176,000 polling stations, your presence is only felt in 42,000. So there is just no way Labour can pose a threat to the PDP in the north. Ditto NNPP. So as far as I'm concerned, we have a situation in which, like you did say, we are fighting, we are contesting literally with the APC, but we are not worried, we're not losing sleep over beating Bola Ahmed Tinubu because that has been done and dusted.
Even
as far
with
as I'm concerned.
The G5 governors, one was saying campaigning vigorously. That he even said, Governor Autumn said, he doesn't even care if he loses his own senatorial election.
Yes.
But that he thinks that a Labour Party's candidate Peter Obi must win in his state of Benue. Well, that is one of your governors.
No,
5 governors of the PDP
yes.
are obviously openly not on your side.
You see, the 5 governors of the PDP, they are on a journey of political sentiment. They don't necessarily, there is no governor today in the PDP that can order his own constituents in his states and tell them don't vote against, don't vote Atiku. He does that as his own political peril. I can assure you no governor in the PDP will come out and tell his constituents don't vote Atiku.
So you're daring
or any other party.
That the G5 does not have what it takes to stop votes for your party.
The G5 will not affect the outcome of Atiku's political fortunes as far as the Saturday's elections.
You're not worried about Rivers State?
No, we're not worried about Rivers State because when you look at the history, in the South, Delta State provided more votes for the PDP in the 2019 elections, I think by more than 75,000 votes. So, and for crying out loud, PDP will win in Rivers.
All right. So where do we go from here? You are agreeing with Mr. Saliu about the chances of the Labour Party and NNPP?
Honestly, this election is a straight contest between APC and PDP. That's the reality. Even though we have other candidates, brilliant candidates, but the reality of it, none of them have the kind of structure, latitude, capital to be able to do it. And especially, my concern is this narrative that's been put out there that the Labour Party candidate, Peter Obi, has an opportunity. Yes, he's got an opportunity to contest, but there is a constitutional impossibility for Peter Obi to win this election because of the way our laws are constituted. It's just not possible.
They see him as a disruptor. As a possible shocker.
But he's disrupting the PDP, not the APC, because what Peter Obi has done is he's cannibalizing the votes of the PDP. That's just the reality.
What would you do if the Labour Party wins?
It's not a constitutional possibility. It's not a possibility for Labour Party to win this election.
So you're ruling them out?
I'm completely ruling them out. It's the reality. And my problem is this narrative that's been... No, I'm not God. I certainly am not God. My concern is this narrative that has been put out there that there's a possibility that he will win. So in the event that next week Peter Obi definitely isn't going to win, it's going to be...
I just have 30 seconds for us to go. Mr. Saliu, your candidate, Atiku Abubakar and Bola Tinubu will be fighting hard in the north. That's a major one. It's obvious that where Tinubu will get his vote from. But north is where a lot of people think is the battleground.
Yes. Well, you see, first and foremost, let me say this for the benefit of our viewers. The contest between Atiku Abubakar and Bola Tinubu is a contest between, first, a political icon that has pedigree and history and track record and experience and capacity and energy to deliver, versus a candidate that is provincial in thinking, provincial in attitude, provincial in political leadership, and sitting at the head of a political conglomerate that is falling apart.
We need to go there.
That is the APC.
It's PDP that's falling apart. They've got 5 renegade governors that are not even supporting them.
This election, the PDP is not worried because we know we will win this election, and we'll win
All right.
freely,
We need to go now.
and
We're totally out of time.
fair.
Well, I didn't have...
Yeah, go ahead.
well,
10 seconds.
And, I thought she had all the time.
No,
talking,
she
and
didn't.
No,
You had before the break.
I thought I
but
needed to.
No, I
10
think
seconds, please.
this election is going to come down literally to the Northwest votes. That's the battleground. And the Northwest, we're going to do everything in our power to deliver, because we are a people of honor, we are a people of integrity, we are a people of loyalty. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been loyal and honest
We're totally
to the
out of
North.
time.
And this is what
Thank
we're
you
going
so
to
much.
return back to.
If failure can be rewarded, then
PDP should not be elected, because they failed for 16 years.
We need to go now.
PDP
Totally
failed
out of
for
time.
16 years.
Mr. Laden Saliu
Yes.
and Ms. Musawa, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Vote for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the election.
That's our show for today. But you know what? I'll be joining you at 6 p.m. tomorrow. We're having an additional 1 hour just to get grinding on all of the issues and bring you all the information that you need to know. 6 p.m. tomorrow, I'll see you. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.